So we are going to discuss Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 text number 38. So from here on the Lord will begin the theme of Nishkam Karma. Up till now the Lord was discussing that he should fight the battle on the consideration that if he fights, then he will, if he does not fight, then he will get sin and he will get akirti, infamy, which are all material considerations. And if he fights, then he will gain kingdom, heavenly kingdom, or in this world he will be glorious also. So now the Lord explains from here, from this shloka onwards, that he should not think about these considerations. If he should not think about whether he will win the war, whether he will gain something or not gain something, whether he will be happy or in distress. So this is a very important point in practice of yoga, that we remain equanimous and don't think about the think about the fruits of the results of our action. If hear this very carefully. Now, if I don't think about the fruits or the results, will I work? Many times people think, please hear very carefully, if I am not having any objective, then why will I work? I have an objective right now to speak Bhagavad Gita. There is some purpose. So it doesn't mean that one should not have a purpose in action. But one should not have a fruitive purpose in action. I'm going slowly so that it descends into your heart. We should not enjoy material rewards, or we should not expect or aspire for material results from our action. But definitely we must know, we must behave that the purpose of our action should be with that I should gain transcendental knowledge. It's not that when we work in the mood of detachment that we do not get anything. The pure consciousness which a person gets by working selflessly is also a result, but it is not a fruitive result. We are chanting Hare Krishna, we know that there is a prayojan. The prayojan is that we want to get bhakti of the Lord. Bina prayojan ke to kuch nahi kiya jata hai. But then that objective should not be fruitive in the terms of getting some material reward in this world or some going to heaven and all those things. That attitude should not be there. This was promised by the Lord in the previous shloka or not. You will gain, either you will gain victory here or you will go to heaven. This is a fruitive attitude. Prabhupada kai baar usko bolte na sakam karma. Fruitive attitude. This fruitive attitude has to be given up. So, and if we work in that capacity, that in that attitude that I don't aspire or desire fruitive results from this, then the result is that we will get a pure consciousness, pure heart. And that also is a result. वो भी एक result है, उद्देश्य है. Is it clicking or not clicking? Many times people will ask you when you will preach, कर्मण्य वाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन, all those things. If I don't get the results, if not working for results, then why will I work? It seems that Lord is telling that we should work without purpose, but it's not like that. And you will see in the shloka here. Please chant after me. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujjasva nevam papam avapsyasi. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujjasva nevam papam avapsyasi. Sukha dukhe same kritva labha labhau jaya jayau tato yuddhaya yujjasva. Yujjas, not sya, it is yujjasva. Tato yuddhaya yujjasva naivam papam avapsyasi. Okay. So this is very easy to understand Sanskrit. Sukha dukhe same kritva. Kritva means becoming, having become. Becoming equanimous in material happiness and distress. Why? You have to link it from the previous shloka we have heard. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agam paino nityas tam titikshasva bharata yam hi na vithantyate purusham purushashabha sama dukha sukham dhiram somrtatvaya kalpate. The Lord has explained in the previous quoted, just the shloka which I have quoted, that all this happiness and distress is simply out of sense perception. Basically, it's mental concoction. By this thing I will become happy, by that will I become unhappy, is all mental concoction for a conditioned soul. Soul cannot become either happy or unhappy by material situations. Both situations are illusion for the soul. Make sense? So now understanding that I am soul, that means that the Lord has explained, you remain same, equanimous in happiness and distress. Now what does it mean? It means in happiness also you do your dharma, and in unhappiness also you do your dharma. That means you're going to experience unhappiness and happiness, but you remain equanimous in your dharma. Equanimous means fixed. You remain fixed in doing your duties of, in Prabhupada's context, or in our Bhakti's context, Krishna consciousness, and in the context of Nishkam Karma, Varnashram duties. Now your duty is as a Kshatriya is to fight. So you do not think whether I will become happy or do not become happy. You just fight. Then labha alabhau. Labha means profit, alabha means no profit, no profit. In that also you remain equanimous. All these were the problems of Arjuna or not. Whether I'll get, what benefit I'm going to get from this war? No, it is a duty as a Kshatriya to fight. Again, Jaya, Jayau. Jaya means victory, Ajaya means defeat. So in all these situations, one has to remain equanimous. It's very important that if we want to advance in Krishna consciousness, we must understand that we have nothing to do with the dualities of this world. They will come and go. They are completely external to the soul proper. Does it make sense? And they will come. Thinking that I am doing bhakti and then dualities will not come is an illusion. All of you feeling cold? And then afterwards you will also feel heat also in June or something like that. So do we stop chanting? Now you understand? Sometimes you may not get a good grade. Sometimes you may get, I'm also feeling cold. But I will still continue to give Bhagavad Gita class, is it not? Cold, heat, all those things. Now just think, very simple, just think about it. If we become affected by this Sukha and Dukh, then will we chant Hare Krishna? Very simple, bhakti context, very simple. If we become affected by this lamentation and all those things, will we chant Hare Krishna? No. So we have to, with determination, understanding that I am not this body, and by executing dharma, I will realize this, and I will also realize Krishna. No matter what is external situation, I will continue to perform my dharma. And if you reflect upon it, the people who are materialistic, if their goal is in front of them, that they want to enjoy and they will get some money, they also do not care about the dualities. I was just reflecting, when Mataji in Bharatpur, she used to wake up at 3 o'clock to go for a job in Agra, sitting in a bus for 2.5 hours like that, every day, and then coming back again. So, this is my dharma, I have to take care of my family, and whatever was the motivation. So she was not thinking about the dualities. It is tough. I have seen my mother working very hard. And also mothers in their home, Prabhupada gives example, they will cook in any season. Doesn't make sense? So if the goal is clear that I must realize myself, then those dualities will not affect us much. Dualities will come, people will criticize us, they will appreciate us, all those things will come, but one has to remain fixed in his Bhagavad Dharma, Bhakti Dharma. Does it make sense? Dharma means duties. And Bhagavad Dharma means duties towards Krishna. I am only taking in the context of Bhakti, but in the context of Varnashram, it is that we have to do our Dharma. That's what Lord is saying now. Is understood? Don't think about this Jaya Jaya Labha Labha. Tato means hence, therefore, Yudhaya Yujasva. Yudhaya means for fight, for the sake of fighting. You just fight. You fight for the sake of fighting. Because that is the dharma. You chant Hare Krishna for the sake of chanting Hare Krishna. Now you understand? That is your dharma. It's quite, I'll explain this point. But what will I get? Say, na evam, naivam, nahi hi, never ever. Papam avapsasi, you will get sin by doing this. By executing one's dharma, one never gets sin. Very, very interesting. This will be explained again in the 18th chapter, just like fire always has smoke. Beautiful example given by Lord Krishna. Fire always has smoke. Most of the time, maybe this heater doesn't have fire, but whenever there is fire, it is some smoke. If there is normal wood fire, at that time, the time of Lord Krishna, there was no heater. So now, whenever there is fire, normal wood fire, there is some smoke, but doesn't mean fire doesn't give light and illumination. Make sense? Very beautiful example. Similarly, any activity, brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, or brahman, kshatriya, vaishya, all their duties have some defects built in their karma. Kshatriya has to fight. Now, see, Arjuna had to fight. And then Brahmana sometimes has to perform a sacrifice in which an animal is killed. But if the dharma is performed as per Shastra with proper attitude, it purifies. Does it make sense? So one should not give up one's dharma. I was reflecting upon it, one interesting point, that Anish Prabhu, do you have to exert yourself to become a boy? No, to be a boy. To be a man, do you have to exert? Gaur Gopal Prabhu, me, Ayush Prabhu, he's in a meeting, anyhow. So now, do you feel any exertion in being a man? All the men I'm asking. No, normal. All the Matajis, do you feel any exertion in being a Mataji? No, Prabhuji, no problem. Similarly, why? Because in a sense, if you talk about from conditional point of view, this is our Sarupa. Right now, this is body given, we work very nicely. Now, what is the difficulty in becoming a servant of Krishna? You're already a servant of Krishna. To become an independent enjoyer is more difficult. To be a servant of Krishna is not difficult. Click kar raha hai aapko. Just like being a man for me is very easy. Being a woman for a Mataji is very easy. Behaving like a woman. Nahi click kar raha hai. I'm talking about material from the point. Now, for me to behave as a servant of Krishna is very easy. That is natural for me. The form of the service will be different, even while in this world. But to engage in Krishna service is natural for me. Just like it is very natural for fish to be in the waters. I'm just saying that about dharma, which we have to do towards Krishna, is natural for the living entity. That's why we naturally feel happy to discuss about Krishna. The time we are spending every day on Zoom, we won't do for anything else if we are not paid for it. Have you ever thought? We are not getting paid for discussing Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam or chanting Hare Krishna, and we spend around 5 or 6 hours at least every day. Do you do, Anish Prabhu, will you spend 6 hours for anybody in this world if you are not paid? No, that is an honest answer. And we do it here because we feel happy serving Krishna. So always try to think how I can increase my this quota, Bhagavad Dharma quota. And for that, be ready to tolerate all the dualities. अरे पापा डांटते हैं, गला तो नहीं काट रहे. If in your home somebody is saying, why are you chanting Hare Krishna? I will chant Hare Krishna. You are a rascal, foolish. Yes, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. On any duality, no matter what the parents will say. Like one of our devotees sitting in front, he says, I cannot wake up early in the morning because I will take a bath in the morning. Then the parents will say, why are you taking bath early in the morning? No matter what they say, you don't worry about it. This will come. And somebody will say also, wow, you get up early in the morning, very nice. Then also you should continue to do bhakti. This will come. People will say good, people will say bad, but we have to continue to do our bhakti. Then only we can reach pure devotional service platform. This is a very important instruction you have to learn from this shloka. Okay.
For doing chanting.
Yes.
After some time, initially they will just speak, you are doing this and that.
Yes.
After that, you okay, do what.
Say yes. Kutte ki pooch. In the beginning, they may object. What is this? maybe by our objection, all those things they will object, but then they say, nah, this is not going to change. Then anyhow, leave it. होता है ना ऐसा. Sometimes the boy becomes crazy, then they try to fix him, and then he becomes crazy, then leave it. We'll think about others. So like this, we should become dog's tail. Never give up Krishna consciousness. Translation: Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing you shall never incur sin. How do you translate into our context? Do thou preach for the sake of preaching, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so you will always increase in bhakti. I will translate that into bhakti context. Now you understand? Arjuna had to fight, and what we have to do, Rudra Prabhu? What we are supposed to do? Krishna had a mission in Arjuna's time to establish Yudhishthira Maharaj as the king of all over the world. That was the mission of Lord Krishna. I never spoke this. I'm first time speaking. First time in the Gita class. First time ever in my life. Krishna had a mission to establish Yudhishthira Maharaj as the king of all over the world. I bet you I never spoke like this. Krishna is now revealing this. And same Krishna has a mission as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to establish bhakti all over the world. Do you disagree? Prithvi te ache yada nagar adi gram sarvatra prachar hove varan. Very beautiful, very good. Amazing. This is nice point. So now Arjuna was supposed to fight to get this mission executed, which was already planned by the Lord. Even if you don't fight, it will happen. Now makes sense to you? Beautiful. Now, when Mahaprabhu is saying that in every nook and corner, the holy name of the Lord will be spread, it will get spread. Now it's up to me to take advantage of something which is going to happen anyways. Whether we work or not work in preaching, it will anyhow work. So why don't we take the credit for that and go back to Godhead by doing that service? Does it make sense? Okay. It's like I give a very small example. The Brazilian devotees, I don't know how that devotee got my number. I just don't know. I know one devotee in what is place? Chhattisgarh? Somewhere in Madhya Pradesh. He got her number, and then he connected her to our Gita class as it is group, this group, and she maybe heard this classes and she got inspired and all that. Now she's asking us that japa thing. Don't you think this is Mahaprabhu's arrangement? Can't you see that? We are not doers in that. We cannot also know very exalted Paramahansas or anything. But Mahaprabhu is engaging us. So the only thing is we should have a willingness to preach on the behalf of Lord Krishna, just like Arjuna was fighting on behalf of Lord Krishna. And he will be given all the strength by Lord Krishna himself, by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. You will see in this life. Okay. So don't think preaching never goes in vain. If somebody has heard Hare Krishna from you, that has gone into his heart. It is sitting there and it will manifest its result after some time. Anybody who has heard Hare Krishna, taken prasadam, and even seen your tilak, that it will not go in vain. Gita Bhushan commentary. You have explained by verse 33 and the verses following it that I will attain sin by not fighting, since I will be giving up my duty. Hetva papam vapsasi. But still I should not fight, because sin will arise from killing Brahmanas and Gurus in a war to gain a kingdom. So he's still not convinced. So that's why Lord has to say in this shloka, Naivam, never ever. If you do your duty as a Kshatriya, when fighting a righteous battle, you will never ever get sin. So Lord answers, it is not so. You will not incur sin by killing them when you are fighting with a desire for liberation. So you see, you are not going to fight with the desire to enjoy the kingdom. What the Lord is telling is that you should have a desire for liberation, means become free from this bondage of birth and death. And for that, the path which the Lord is prescribing is performing varnashram duties in a selfless attitude. Samajh rahe? Nishkam karma yoga. So he wants to bring that point. So that's why he's bringing this shloka, that you fight but without the desire for liberation. What is the point, Radha Prabhu, here? I know you are tired. Why you did not take rest? Why you are feeling sleepy? Okay. So you look at that while and be alert. No problem. Sometimes it happens. That's why I'm asking you to speak. What should be the attitude of Arjuna in fighting this battle? Right now, what Krishna is speaking in the commentary? He should fight with a desire for liberation, not for material enjoyment, either in this life or in Swarga. You hear very carefully. I was explaining the same thing yesterday in Bhagavatam also. Our aspiration in actions or aspiration, lalsa, determine what we get. In bhakti also. Did we remember this yesterday? If I desire material enjoyment or liberation, I will not get the happiness of bhakti. So while I am doing bhakti, I should, from the beginning only, we should give up these desires. No, I don't want this. Very simple to understand. If you are coming from Delhi to Vrindavan and there are so many stations coming in between, if I get down at that station, then my progress towards Vrindavan will be delayed. So remaining fixed, you are seeing those things, so things are coming. Is it not? This station is coming, that station is coming. But you are focused, unless Vrindavan comes, I am not going to get down. Does it make sense? Our goal should be very clear. So why I'm doing bhakti or why I'm doing varnashram dharma, all those things have to be very, very clear. So he said that you should fight so that doing your dharma as a matter of as a means of purifying your heart, not for swarga, neither for material gain here. This is extremely important in our bhakti also. Especially in the beginning, we have to be very, very conscious of purifying our hearts. Prabhupada says this point. First, one has to be situated in mode of goodness, and then more knowledge to make further advancement will be revealed to him. Are you able to understand? I give an example. Just like in a nursery class, first you have to learn 1 plus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then calculus will be told later on. And you say, no, I don't know 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I want to learn calculus. I heard that is very nice. Can you learn calculus? Does it make sense? Sometimes people say like this, what is my relationship with Krishna right now? Purify your hearts. First you see, how do you relate with the people of this world? When you see a woman, do you feel attracted? When you see a man, you feel attracted. Or anything else attracts you. Then what do you talk about your relationship with Krishna right now? That will be revealed in Bhava stage. The first thing is to cross over Anartha Nivritti. Does it make sense? Be practical about it. समझ लेना मेरी बात. This is it comes so many times. Nobody will tell you your Sarupa. Don't be illusioned by that. Your Sarupa is peacock, all those things. You will realize yourself by keep on chanting Hare Krishna mantra like that. Make sense? It's not a cheap thing. Okay. So we are going ahead. This is explained in this verse. Note, the transition from Sakam Karma to Nishkam Karma, whose goal is Atma Gyan and liberation, is made in this verse. Are you able to identify? In the previous shlokas, in the 6 shlokas, the Lord explained what you will not gain materially and what you will gain materially. So still you should do dharma. Now here he explains the further higher point. You should do dharma so that you become liberated, you get Atma Gyan, you become free from this avidya. I'll explain again. When the Varnashram duties are done respectively by respective people, Shudra will do his duties, Vaishya will do his duties, Kshatriya will do his, and Brahmana will do his, but not with the material desire, then it produces Atma Gyan, knowledge or realization of the soul. समझ में आ रहा है? ऊपर से जा रहा है. When a person in Grahastha, Vanaprastha, or any order, if he does Varnashram duties, which obviously is not practical now, but theoretically, this is called Nishkam Karma Yoga. When he does his activities not to gain material results, then he will develop Atma Gyan. He will develop Atma Gyan when he does his Varnashram duties in a detached mood, not in trying to enjoy this. I give an example, map it to Bhakti. By chanting 5 shlokas of Bhagavad Gita of 18th chapter, you can go to Swarga also. But are we chanting doing Parayan for going to Swarga? Now you understand this point? समझ में आ रहा है? Same thing, if you want to chant Hare Krishna for going to Swarga, very easy. अरे पहले क्यों नहीं बताया आपने? It's very easy. But we don't chant Hare Krishna to go to Swarga. One devotee who chants 3 lakh names per day, he was telling me, he came to our ashram sometime. Somebody asked him, Arey, you are chanting so much, by now you must have become Crorepati. Such a foolish proposition to such an exalted soul. And he was laughing. He said, I am not chanting 3 lakh names to become Karodpati. You know, that person must be completely so exalted, every day chanting 3 lakh names. And that fellow is saying, you should have become Karodpati by now. It's amazing, no? What kind of, I was surprised what kind of people are roaming around. And it was strange chanting. You don't chant Hare Krishna to become Karodpati, is it not? Being equal, sama means to remain unchanging in this world in all circumstances. You understand? You remain fixed in the dharma. We will do our duties. Just like sometimes people ask, "Oh, जाड़े में भी मंगल आरती 4:30 पे होती है." In the winter season also near temple the मंगल आरती is 4:30 because evening आरती is changed 6:30 to 7. So they think maybe मंगल आरती also is 5 a.m. or something. Yes, no, मंगल आरती is 4:30 only, no change. Not being attached to, this is a very difficult thing. Many people when they look at 4:30 मंगल आरती, that means at least 3:30 one has to wake up or 3:45 is पसीने छूट जाते हैं. They cannot do that. Not being attached to happiness and its cause, which is victory, and not having dislike of happiness and its cause, that means not attaining a kingdom due to defeat, being of unchanging heart, engage in fighting. Does it make sense? It's very easy to understand. Do not think what will be the result of the war. This war is going to purify you, whether you lose or whether you get defeated. Engage in the fighting only because it is your duty. As a fighter, you will not incur sin in killing them because of your disposition of desiring liberation. So you understand this point? Okay. One who fights with hankering for material results incurs sin, but one who desires true knowledge destroys infinite sins accumulated from the past. So the glory of Varnashram Dharma or Nishkam Karma Yoga is being explained. It's also very glorious, but not compared to Bhakti. Because Bhakti, even if you do without any attitude, Hare, hey, Hari Bol, finish. For destroying sins, ज़्यादा मेहनत नहीं करना है. Hey, Ramras लाए कि नहीं? Did you bring some Ramras for me? Are you going to make some Rajma today? Then Krishna deletes the ja. He said, Ram, oh, he spoke Ram, sins are destroyed. Halim Riktam, Hari, Haram Khor. Even if you curse somebody, the papas get destroyed. That's what Mahaprabhu says, Haram, 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 Haram. So these Muslim people say Haram, Haram. So they don't have any attitude in Bhakti. So Bhakti is, you cannot compare Nishkam Karma Yoga with Bhakti. But those who cannot do Bhakti, means those who will not have faith in Bhakti immediately, for them Varnashram is very, very good. Now, how it is practically applied to our case also, even as practicing devotees, Varnashram, whatever Varnashram we are following, we must not have a fruitive mentality. And that's what Prabhupada also explained. 50% of our salary should be used for preaching Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, Lakshmi will be cause of bondage. And you will be surprised to know that it can be done. I'm not saying you give 50% of salary to me, but use it for Krishna's service. Otherwise, you will see how every time money comes to us, it brings a sense of enjoyment. How can I enjoy it? Have you ever thought? Have you experienced like that? And if we have a sense of giving the Lakshmi to Krishna, using it for Krishna's service, you will see you will become very happy. You will somehow there feel relieved in your heart. Always feel, at least just like we start from chanting one round, we can start fix it, 10% I'll give to Krishna for sure, no matter how much I earn. And I'll give an example of Khola Becha Sridhar. Khola Becha Sridhar was an associate of Mahaprabhu in Mahaprabhu's pastime, and he used to sell banana leaves. How much you can earn by banana leaves? 15,000 rupees per month? No. 20,000? No. And out of that profit, 50% of the profit used to go in worship of Mother Ganga. And whole night and day he was happy chanting Hare Krishna. So the whole difficulty is we have expanded our needs. If we earn 1 lakh, suppose if we earn 10,000 rupees, then what do we think? We deserve to eat in steel plate. Yes. Suppose if we earn 1 lakh rupees, then we think, what do we think? we deserve to eat in plastic plates. That is the problem in this world now. People are becoming more wealthy and then now they eat in plastic plates and all those things. But that's what we think. But what will be this is a joke only, but I'm just saying normally a person who will be more rich, 1 lakh rupees, the same fellow gets a more salary, then what he thinks? At least I need a car. And at least I need this. Without this I cannot live also, is it not? So we just expand our need and we do not think how my life can, if my life and wealth and resources are used for others, what a great benefit I get myself. This is not, you reflect upon it. Just like now I'm seeing, giving this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam to others, my own knowledge is so much enhanced. So much enhanced. Same way it is like this. A devotee should be, it's very simple. And if you keep on chanting Hare Krishna, you will say, I need very less. Why should I work hard? Point number one. And somehow that if I get Lakshmi or anything, any resource which I have, it should be used for Krishna service. Whether we have ability, whether we have Lakshmi or anything. Highest thing is to somehow that use Lakshmi, intelligence, words, anything in Krishna's, preaching Krishna's glories. Very important. It's our duty. One who fights with hankering for material results incurs sins, but one who desires true knowledge destroys infinite sins accumulated from the past. So by actions we get knowledge. That is being explained here. Same thing is happening in bhakti also. When we chant Hare Krishna, prakashascha karmani abhyasat, when we keep on doing the actions of bhakti, just like now we're discussing Bhagavad Gita, we're chanting Hare Krishna, then we take prasadam. These are called karmas of bhakti. Not karma yoga, actions of bhakti. So by doing this abhyas, again and again repeated actions of bhakti, prakashascha, your heart becomes illumined, become more realized. How does one become inclined to fighting, charity or other actions without desire for results? It is difficult. You see, we were addressing this point. Arey phal hi nahi chahiye to kaam kyun karenge? If there is no result in an action, then why will I do any action for that matter? Whether it is charity, whether it is fighting, why should I do that? That will be a question. Then Krishna answers. Understand that attachment to the infinite bliss of the Atma is the inspiration. Just as attachment to a kingdom is the inspiration for the fool who throws himself off a cliff. So now you see, I have given the example in the earlier part of the lecture. People also tolerate dualities in this world to get material benefits. I have seen one person, just to get 5,000 rupees payment from me, came from Aligarh on bike when there was rain. All throughout from Aligarh to here, it's around 100 kilometers or so. To get 5,000 rupees payment, he came all the way from there to Vrindavan. If I would have asked him, would you like to come for Mangal Arati? And it's amazing that when sometimes it rains, and devotee says, I will not go for Mangal Arati today. Or I will not chant Hare Krishna, a little bit, whatever. Many times my driver had fever and he has driven us from here to Delhi all throughout the day. And when we have fever, say, we cannot chant Hare Krishna. So, what I wanted to say, even for material results, people are ready to tolerate so much dualities. Why? Because they think by these material arrangements, I'll become happy. Is it not? Motivation is to become happy. So now, the Lord is telling to Arjuna that you, just like a person will do dharma, please hear very carefully, just like a normal Kshatriya, materialistic Kshatriya will do the fighting either to gain a battle here or go to Swarga, because in both cases he aspires for material happiness. Samajh mein aa raha hai meri baat? Similarly, you must do Varnashram dharma in a detached manner so that you get the happiness of, you get the spiritual happiness of Atma, self-realization. You must remember, Varnashram dharma cannot give you realization of Bhagwan, but it can give you realization of soul. जा रहा है या ऊपर से जा रहा है? ठीक, बहुत अच्छी बात है. And this thing all can be mapped in bhakti. Prabhupada will say these points. Purport. Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. Again, can you translate into preaching? Are you able to translate this sloka into preaching? Lord Krishna has told in Bhagavad Gita also, anybody who gives message to anybody others, he is most dear to me. He does not mention how many students should come to his class. कहीं लिखा है गीता में? In Lord's class also there was only one student. I have at least 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see how many there on Zoom. 1, 2, 18 participants, including myself, 17. I have 17 students, 17 plus 4, 21 students. And Lord had one student. Prabhupada explains that PhD programs go on even if there are only one student. Does it make sense? So even, and I think Mataji also, then kids zone, at least 10 kids are coming. And you're talking about Bhagavatam and Gita, no matter what you want to, whatever you want to speak about Krishna. Doesn't make sense. Never be discouraged how many people are coming. You know what? In Russia, Srila Prabhupada preached to one person, Anant Shanti Prabhu. His samadhi is here in Vrindavan. And he preached to, he started the whole movement in Russia. Just one seed, one person. Amazing, is it not? Like this. So the idea is very clear that we execute Krishna consciousness, we preach. Even Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur says, if there is no one, you preach to the four walls. Nobody, then you preach to the four walls. Because when you speak, you hear yourself and you get purified. But we have facility that I don't have to actually speak to the four walls. I have 4 devotees sitting here and some 17 devotees sitting here. Oh, not 17. You are also there. No, Rudra is here on Zoom, so I exclude that. But let's say Gaur Gopal Prabhu also. But let's say whatever, say 15, 16 like that. There is no concept. So you must understand, whenever you preach, you are preaching for Lord's pleasure. Not that how many followers you're going to get. Because then we will degrade our preaching. Then we will speak what people like to hear, not what they need to hear. Does it make sense? And what will be the value if I please everybody except Krishna? Can any one of us save anyone from death? No. And can Krishna save all of us from death? Yes. So we should try to please Krishna. That means give the knowledge in parampara, not try to please people. There will always be some people who will like to pay the price. Like in our Go Mata, I always say, keep the quality intact. Do not degrade the quality. People will always be ready to buy. There are always some people who are looking for good quality. Don't sell. They are not doing, but if you buy ghee for 110 rupees kilo, you understand what does it mean. Our ghee is very good. I always focus, keep the quality nice. Purity is the force. People will come back again and again. There are always some people who like to get quality. Is it actually everybody? But there are some people who does not want quality. So keep the quality nice. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or gain, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. See, all the while Srila Prabhupada will map into bhakti. Because Varnashram people can't even follow very strictly. That everything should be performed. Hold on. Varnashram cannot be performed, and Varnashram is much lesser than bhakti. You cannot compare chanting Hare Krishna or Varnashram duties with chanting Hare Krishna. Nothing. But Varnashram helps us to chant Hare Krishna. If I am doing very ugra karma, very difficult to chant Hare Krishna. In a factory or other things, very difficult to chant Hare Krishna. But if I am in a peaceful atmosphere, as per my nature, it's easier to chant Hare Krishna. That is the only thing. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So you see, the mood of detachment from Varnashram, detachment from fruitive results is picked up and applied in bhakti. That I am detached from results is one point, but I am attached to to Krishna, that Krishna should be pleased. This is the result which I want. And if you do this, you get realization of Krishna also. In this Nishkam Karma Yoga, he just does not aspire for material results. So it's somewhat offered to Krishna. But here a devotee is directly working for Krishna. So this is not simply Nishkam Karma Yoga. Krishnartham Akhila Chesta, for Krishna doing all the activities. All the activities. One should not think, I'm a brahmachari, I cannot clean plates, I cannot do this, I cannot clean the bathroom or do anything. Nothing. Anything for Krishna. तुम्हारे लिए सब कुछ करने के लिए तैयार हूं. Like that, the boyfriend will tell to the girl to impress her, I will do anything for you. Then if the girl is a devotee, she should say, chant 16 rounds. Then maybe he will become a brahmachari. Anyhow, whatever. The girl normally won't say that. Anyways, we go forward. Where is we are? But actually, you should test it. If suppose it happens to any devotee girl, some boy says, "No, I love you so much," and this and that. Why don't you chant Hare Krishna? Then you see how much he actually loves you. Before we go forward, very nice point on material enjoyment and mentality. I was just hearing from Maharaj today that when I was doing yoga, every time you get some beautiful point. A person who's only looking for material enjoyment is actually has a pashu buddhi, has the intelligence of an animal. Why? Just like an animal, he was giving the example in Banaras, an animal in Banaras, or everywhere, the cows and bulls, they will see some vegetable being displayed on a thela, but they will never consider whom does it belong to. Am I allowed to eat it? Amazing hitting point. And similarly, in our material consciousness, we think everything is for my enjoyment. We never ask this question, whom does it all belong to? Whom does this room belong to? Whom does this body belong to? Who has given me my senses? Is it not? And in default mode, what do we think? Is it for my enjoyment? It is for my enjoyment. That's why coming out of Pashu Buddhi Varnashram helps. No. It is not for your enjoyment. You please follow Dharma. And highest sense is to understand everything belongs to Krishna and everything should be used, my energies, everything for Krishna's service. Then if you understand, then 50% salary giving for Krishna is very easy. If 100% has to be given for Krishna, at least Krishna allows me to use 50%. But because I think this money is for my enjoyment, for my family's enjoyment, then I feel difficult. So one should reflect upon it. Also, those people who say, I love you, all this love between girls and boys and all that, basically they are saying, I want to eat you. You are my sense object. Do not and never ever remain in an illusion that they love you. They want to say, I want to eat you. Just like eat a rasgulla, I want to enjoy you, enjoy whatever. This is the reality of this world. And that's why, and it is being taught from both the parties. Very, very, very harsh reality which we don't want to accept. And how does a devotee thinks? How can I serve you? How can I help this person? Is it not? And this all comes in our heart also. How can I serve this person? How can I help him to become a devotee? This is such a wonderful consciousness, wonderful, matchless gift of Krishna consciousness. How can I serve Krishna more? How can I serve Krishna more? How can I serve Krishna more? And the root is chanting Harinam. If you chant Hare Krishna nicely, this consciousness builds up again and again. How is it? And you can't explain it, but it keeps on being, how can I give more to Krishna? How can I give more to Krishna? Very nice. I was just thinking, I'm just explaining this point. Everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. And if you are doing it in transcendental consciousness, you are in transcendental mode, no matter what you are doing. So there is no reaction to material activities. So apparently it may look material, just like I was thinking about how to get a webcam. Now so many people think about how to get a webcam, but I was thinking about how to get a webcam so that I can broadcast the class properly. Now I'm thinking, how can I make it live on Zoom? So many people think about it. So many people make their classes live on Zoom, but we are thinking so that we can connect more and more people to Krishna. So why I'm saying this is called Yukta Vairagya. We are attached to pleasure of Krishna and we use whatever is favorable for Krishna's service. If I have to use a car to go for Krishna's program or preaching program, I will use it. I will not say I'm a Virakta and go by walk. Does it make sense? My body also is being used for Krishna's service or not? You cannot say I am not the body, so I will not do exercise, I will not take care of my body. We are not doing exercise to take care of the body to enjoy. This may appear very simple, but it is a very deep point to be understood. Srila Prabhupada also took care of his body, is it not? He was going for morning walk and all those things because through this body, he has to serve Krishna. It is a wonderful point if you can understand. Even though we are not fully realized that we are not this body, but we can remain in transcendental consciousness if we work for the pleasure of the Lord. Nice one. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. Just like, again, go to Kashi now. that animal is there and he eats the fruit without asking anybody, then what he gets, a reaction, danda. Ah! Similarly, we get a danda of Maya by which we remain bound in this material world. Very, very dangerous. But I was just telling to our Gomata department, why don't you offer the Hingoli also to Jagannath? Anyhow, and nobody will offer it to Krishna when he will buy his medicine. Hingoli, you understand? Hingoli. Very tasty Hingolis are there. I said, yeah, good idea. We can offer it to Krishna and then everybody will get prasadam. At least, the whole idea is even if they don't offer their food to Krishna, to digest whatever they are eating, at least they will put some Hingoli and they'll get benefit. And prasadam from Vrindavan, like this. Somehow that we can always get some ideas to connect people to Krishna consciousness.
For the Jews as well, we can offer.
Yeah, juice also can be offered to Krishna. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone as one is in the ordinary course of activities. So you see, a person who is working for the sense gratification, he is obliged to this person, to that person. Just like if I take milk, then I'm obliged to the cow. Cow has given me milk. Is it not? And then we take service from so many people in this world. But I first chant this shloka. Chant after me. Devarshi bhutapta nirnam pitrinam Shibhutapta pritnam na kinkaro nayam rini charajan nayam rini sarvatmanah yah sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. Deva Rishi. Deva means demigods. Rishi means sages. Bhuta means the living entities. Apta means relatives. Nirnam means human beings. Pitranam means forefathers. Na kinkaro na ayam rini cha rajan. Neither he remains a servant of them, na ayam rini. Neither he becomes an indebtor to them. If he does not serve them, okay, he may not serve them, but if he does not serve them, then he will become indebted to them. No, Rajan. Oh, king, he will not remain indebted to him also. How? How can you say Sarvatmanah yah sharanam sharanyam? If he with body, mind and words, that person yah sharanam sharanyam, he goes to that shelter whose shelter has to be taken. Sharanya means somebody whose shelter has to be taken, and sharanam means to go to take shelter. That person who by body, mind and words, Atmana means body, mind and words. Sarvatmana means by body, by mind and words. That person who is taking shelter of Mukunda, who is Sharanya. Sharanya means who can give shelter. How I is saying Mukunda? Because he is a awarder of liberation. He is very easily to anybody who is taking shelter of him. He can liberate a person of his sinful reactions immediately as soon as a person surrenders to Krishna or Mukunda. Gato Mukundam parihritya kartam. Parihritya means giving up. Parihrit means very nicely giving up his Varnashram duties and our other obligatory duties. If a person fully surrenders to Krishna, then by body, mind and words serves Krishna, that is the meaning of surrender, then he is not indebted to anybody. Okay, that is the point. So such powerful shloka Srila Prabhupada explained. So what should be the goal of our life from this shloka? How, in whichever ashram person is, how can I constantly, in some way or another, serve Krishna by my body, by my mind and by words? It's very simple. I give a very simple example. Suppose you're in a mall and you're a baby or a small child. So you purchase so many things, so you will be indebted or not. But if you are with your father, the father will pay all the bill. So now if you serve Krishna, any kind of debt is there also, Krishna pays it off. He's serving me, no problem. Example is given by Acharyas that if a person is serving the emperor, he has no time to serve lower people. Makes sense to you? So if you're serving Krishna, by serving Krishna, everybody becomes satisfied. Everybody's debt is taken care of. We have a debt because sages are there and other people are there who give us service. But if we serve Krishna, everybody gets benefited by Krishna. Fir samjhiye, if we are engaged in Krishna's service here very carefully, anyone who helps us in any way will be unlimitedly benefited by Krishna. Because we are engaging in Krishna's service and somebody is helping us. Even he may not be engaged in Krishna's service. Understand, man? If and the same thing applies to us also. If you help a person in bhakti, then whatever bhakti he does, Krishna's mercy will also upon us. So when we preach, it's not that sometimes stupid people give stupid things. भाई preaching करने से आपका तेज कम हो जाता है. If you preach, then your prowess goes down, your tapasya goes down. When I hear this, then I have the same thing. Kutastvaha kashmalamidam. From where all this garbage has come, From where does Srila Prabhupada say this? Where does Prabhupada say this? Where does any devotee has said, so why this devotee is speaking like this? This is complete, when devotee makes a joke, bona fide mental concoctions. Proven concoction. When actually you speak Bhagavad Gita, your prowess increases, your Vani becomes purified. Krishna becomes happy. You ओज आता है आपकी वाणी में, ओज समझते हैं. The ability to influence others. Is how you think that by speaking on Bhagavad Gita you become diminished in your tapasya. Stupidity. I will have no other words, no nice words for such statements. What I'm trying to say, if you serve Krishna in this life, everybody benefited, even if, suppose, our mother and father are not favorable towards our bhakti. But they have definitely done a service of taking care of us when we were very small. I was asking my mother, was I also giving so much trouble? I see the daughter of my sister giving too much trouble. Then she will say, how every child gives trouble. You also was giving so much trouble. So now, anyhow, my mother is a devotee. But if I do devotional service, I cannot not share my results with her. Because she has served me, is it not? First of all, they have given us this body. So we should always be respectful, just like Prahlad Maharaj. But we should not listen to them if they say don't do bhakti. Because by doing bhakti, you will be benefited. Again, I'll bring to your reminder, Damodar month, the ancestors are praying, Are koi to paida ho jaye, let somebody be born in our family in some birth, that he may offer one lamp to Krishna, so that by the mercy of Chakrapani we become liberated. Can you imagine the potency of bhakti? When we don't hear, then we do not value how much we are benefiting our forefathers. It's mentioned in Bhagavatam in the case of Diti. If somebody he reads this prasang of Diti, his forefathers are dancing. Oh, because they all get so much benefit. So if you chant Hare Krishna, you surrender to Krishna, Krishna gives so much to them. They always remain convinced about this. And if you work for a software job or whatever, I have no problem with work, but that itself is not going to liberate either me or my forefathers. So our focus should be bhakti. Okay. Anyone, I just read the translation of the same. Anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, not the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. But please try to understand, it does not mean that he is not doing anything to them. He is doing the highest welfare for them, because being connected to that person, all will be liberated. Samajh rahe hain baat? You know, very famous example, Dhruv Maharaj was told to go to the forest. No, hold on. Dhruv Maharaj was, okay, Dhruv Maharaj's first Siksha Guru was his mother, named Suniti, who told him to that, okay, she did not know how to attain Vishnu, but she said, I have heard that sages go to forest to worship Vishnu. And when Dhruv Maharaj, after 36,000 years, he went back to Godhead, who was going also with him? His mother. Without any bhajan. At least we don't find any special bhajan from her. Can you imagine that? Just giving one. That's why we should preach, because some devotee whom we are preaching will become a very exalted devotee. Just like Devi Shakti Mataji gave book to Devamrit Swami, very exalted teacher. Mataji herself is a very great devotee, but simple Mataji, and such a great devotee. And when Jayapataka Maharaj also was brought by Jayanand Prabhu. Jayanand Prabhu himself was a good devotee. I'm just saying, when we preach, we do not know what that person, how advanced that person will become in Krishna consciousness. So we should constantly preach. Prabhupada says in that context, we also expect that some of our disciple will take us back to Godhead. Out of his humility, Prabhupada says that. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse, and the matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. Any questions? Okay, so what? Yes, Prabhu.
No, he said that when we do something
When we do something
without any fruitive,
without any fruitive mentality,
I feel like when I'm doing something here, Krishna is giving me food, he's giving me shelter, he's giving me all the things. So he's giving me something in return. Where am I?
okay, Prabhuji's question is that I am serving here in temple and Krishna is giving me food and Krishna is giving me shelter. So where is the question of not aspiring for fruitive results? I'm doing my bhakti and I'm getting the results. You are not doing bhakti to get food and shelter. But you never married. But so I'm saying it's good. But I'm just saying that if we are born to some parents and we just remain there, don't they feed us? We don't remain there just to eat food. खाना खाने के लिए तो घर में नहीं रहते ना, जन्म ले रहे हैं तो माता पिता ध्यान रखते ही हैं. So Prabhupada makes a real funny joke on this. He says that even a politician will pay all the expenses of all those people who campaign for him. हमारा नेता कैसा हो, dash dash जैसा हो. He does just all the while they just chant this slogan only, the name of their party leader, and the party leader becomes so happy. He provides all their maintenance. Is it not? What we are doing? Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. हमारा leader कैसा हो? Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. We are doing the same thing. So why Krishna will not maintain us? So our goal is not to get food. That is natural. And Krishna is giving food to everybody. There is no other supplier, my dear Prabhu. Eko bahunam yo vadidati kaman. If you think I will take somebody food from somebody else, it's not possible. Everything belongs to Krishna only. Whether I serve Krishna or don't serve Krishna, anyhow he gives food and shelter. So how much he will give to his servants who will preach Krishna consciousness? Is it not? That is natural. That is nothing but that is natural reciprocation of Krishna. We are going to have very nice prasadam there, and people who work very hard, they get only one sabji and chapati like that, and they're also dry. Krishna is like that. What is Gita Bhushan commentary? Gita Bhushan, is it the same as Prabhupada's purports? It's a good question. Gita Bhushan commentary, if you read Srila Prabhupada's purports, Bhagavad Gita, in the introduction, Prabhupada says this Bhagavad Gita is dedicated to Srila Baldev Vidya Bhushan. So he's a Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya. He's a Siksha disciple of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So now Prabhupada has derived his commentary 80 to 90% from Gita Bhushan. It was a wonderful commentary, and that's why he dedicates his Bhagavad Gita to Baldev Vidya Bhushan. So we discussed that also so that we know why Prabhupada is saying what he's saying. It helps us to understand Srila Prabhupada's commentary more also. And also we know the presentation of commentary is very nice in the form of questions and answers. It makes the whole Bhagavad Gita context very clear and nice. So any other question? Okay, so shall I stop here? Once again, I'll just first stop the recording.